Libra, what is up? Welcome to Starchaeology Tarot. I am Desi. I will be your Starchaeologist for this beautiful month of July. Welcome to July. I just want to give you guys a reading directly from Spirit that will do nothing but encourage you, enlighten you, uplift you, make you feel as strong as you really are, and as powerful as you really are, and as beautiful as you really are, and hold up a mirror to all of these things that you are, as well as shed maybe a different perspective on your current struggles, your current situation that you find yourself in. That is why I do what I do, and it means so much to me that you are here for that. If you have a specific intention that you want to set with this reading, or a specific question to ask, please take the time to do that as I tune in and shuffle the cards. This reading is good for Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I encourage you to also check out those placements for you, because you are a complicated, complex, beautiful puzzle, and all of your placements, much more than just your sun sign, go into explaining the nuances of you. So please check that out if you feel so inclined. Also, feel free to cross watch for a loved one if you're curious what someone else is going through in July, and you want to know how to best support them, what this means for your relationship in July, you know, what they are facing this month. It's sometimes helpful to cross watch and see what the reading is for their sun or other placements. Yeah, I'm pretty sure anything else. Oh, I love you. That's number one. That should have led with that. Let's get shuffling, Libra. Libra, you're going through some serious introspective time this month, and I think a real sort of tearing might be happening with you, some sort of internal conflict over either a new relationship or something budding for you in the realm of emotional fulfillment and joy. This Ace of Cups, this is the purest energy of this suit of cups, excuse me. Heart energy, your emotional well-being, and it's like you've just tapped a spring, a new spring in this emotional realm for you, and it is just it's just, your cup is overflowing, as you can see, and this is like a divine blessing that has come to you. I think for some of you this is a new relationship. This is like, for others it's like unlocking a new level on your current relationship, and yet for others of you, I think that this is not even really about a relationship with another person, friendship or romantic, though I think that for the others, I was just saying, I think it could be romantic or a friendship or a familial relationship in your life. Some of you, though, this is not about your connection with another person. It could just be about your connection with your higher self, your relationship with you, and where and how that really is suddenly fulfilling you in a way that it hasn't before. Like something has shifted, something has clicked, and you're getting a lot of inexplicable, like illogical joy and fulfillment and peace from inside yourself, really from no external validation whatsoever. It's coming purely from this internal spring, and it could be too related to some sort of new joy that you have discovered. You know, great love in our lives, does not only come in the form of a loving relationship, but the things that we are drawn to, the things that light us up and make us feel alive, passions, our hobbies, like the reason why we feel that we are here on earth, all of those things open doors to strengthening our relationship with our inner selves, and which really is our relationship with God, or all there is, or the universe. I mean, substitute that word if you have a problem with the word God for really anything. I mean, it's everything and nothing. It's your relationship with whatever higher power, however you define higher power. And that is your relationship with your higher self, and that is unlocked, that is deepened, that is expanded through a myriad of ways, whether it is relationship and connection to other human beings, whether it is connection to some sort of purpose, to some sort of cause, to some sort of activity that disconnects you from ego and puts you in this divine place where you're just like a channel for divine energy and creation, like creative power. Whatever it is, this is a opening up for you. This spring is really flowing for you this month, and I find this so fascinating. But paired with the Hierophant. Shoot, I just forgot how to say that. Paired with the Hierophant. Is it Hierophant? Hierophant. Wow. How long has it been since I pulled this card? Paired with the Hierophant, there is something about this love for you, whether it is a love for another person, a relationship, a friendship, or a thing, or a hobby, an activity, a passion. There is something about this love that might be causing you to question your obedience to doctrine, to society's norms, to our cultural doctrines, like the unspoken secret doctrines, really, that we grow up conditioned with. Maybe this is a relationship, I'm hearing for some of you, that is like really going against what you thought a relationship should be, or what you thought adult love should be, how it should look, the picture of it. This experience is living somewhere outside of the cultural norm, the cultural expectations. And instead, you're kind of being challenged now to follow a sort of inner obedience. And you're realizing that you have your own set of doctrines that either have formed or are in the process of forming, in the process of unfolding. And this love is drawing your attention to the differences between your own set of doctrines and society's doctrine. The doctrine of like this organization, like in tarot, this is also known as like the Pope card. It's like kind of representative of the church, of being able to give up responsibility and have this organization tell you what is right and wrong, versus you experiencing that yourself. Also having this other entity being able to not resolve life's polarities and dualities and questions that make it confusing for us to understand, but simply create a space that explains them without resolving them. And a religion does that for many people. It creates this explanation where we're like, okay, I can live with these polarities. I can live with these dualities. I understand the theory behind it. These stories make me feel okay with it without having to like solve it or resolve it. And I think too that is hitting something here for you about this love, where there might be some sort of polarity or extremity in this love, in that it's surprising because it's not only different from something you expected, but it is like completely the opposite. You're kind of like, how can I feel what I feel for this? How can I experience what I'm experiencing with this, and also be the way that I am, or also be experiencing this other thing that also is a huge part of me. And it feels kind of like this tearing, and you're like, do I have to resolve this experience because this should be binary? But the truth is, it's not binary. And whether you're turning to some doctrine that you're conditioned to believe, that can help you in accepting the duality of the situation, or it means turning your back on the traditional doctrine in order to find your own to explain this non-binary nature of this situation. It's regardless a challenging thing. We often think too, like with the Hierophant, it's like there's a challenging that happens sometimes with the Hierophant of what is conventional, of what is considered orthodox, and that challenging doesn't exist because what is orthodox is by nature wrong, or what is conventional is by nature wrong. More so, it kind of sheds light on to why the conventional is so important, because it helps create a foundation from which we can then venture off on our own and ask questions ourselves and do that exploration into ourselves. It's like we need to first abide by somebody else's laws to even just know what laws are, before we can then question them and start wondering what are our own laws for ourselves. Without that starting place, which is often religion for many people, there is no jumping off point. There is no structure by which we can learn the rules to live inside and then step outside of. So it's so important, but again, and that's the duality of it. It's so important to have this structure. It's also important to be able to explore outside of that structure, if that is what our calling is in life. And both are crucial to the human experience. There is just something, I feel like this is, I'm so curious what this is for you, and please leave in the comments if this is resonating and if you know what this is about specifically with your life. But I'm very curious, because I think that there's a lot of things happening in the world right now that is causing people to question what is orthodox, question what is considered, the conventional, universally accepted beliefs, and question those things and really think critically and be like, well, that does not make sense to me, or that doesn't resonate for me personally, and I am being challenged to really decide for myself what is right or wrong for me. To decide for myself what will bring me fulfillment, what will create this kind of emotional peace and depth and self-expansion that I want to experience in life. So I think that can be manifesting in so many ways for all of you. I do think that this is more an issue of questioning the conventional doctrine, because the cards that we have after this are pretty wild. By the end of the month, I'll start with this. By the end of the month, you are turning your back on something. You are mentally detaching from something, and it could be an entire doctrine of beliefs that you are detaching from mentally and turning your back on and moving towards a new world. And it is a new world that you are building yourself. It is the world that you want to manifest for yourself to live in. It's like you are living in the video game, and you're also coding the video game, and you're realizing now that you have the power to do that. That living by someone else's rules that feel unjust or unkind or unloving or feel fearful or whatever it is it's not serving you, and there's a real mental detachment and moving on that is happening for you by the end of this month that is worthy of celebration. It's leading you also to a more secure, this is a 4 of Wands, so which is 4s represent stability. It's like this is leading you to a much stronger foundation, a much stronger set of beliefs, of it's like your own inner doctrine. It's a new obedience to your own inner doctrine that is really worth celebrating. And it's a milestone, I think, for you. It's a milestone, especially because, and it's being Wands, it's a milestone in bringing you closer to something that you really, really do want, that is filling your cup for you, that is, whether this is a loving relationship or a friendship or a passion of yours. I'm hearing that you couldn't celebrate success in this realm before because you were defining success by someone else's beliefs. You were defining success by a doctrine that doesn't belong to you, that you just adopted. And that's part of the problem. The things that you deserve to celebrate live outside of this entity. They live outside of this convention. Also, it's almost like you are giving yourself a new education, and that education, you've been so well educated by the world around you, by the conditions, the circumstances that have conditioned you in your life. That's been a great education. You've graduated to the next level of education, which is learning from your innermost self. It's an education that is perfectly crafted for you, the individual, and perfectly suits you and your needs and your dreams and your conditioning and your particular struggles and the lessons that you specifically are here to learn. And that education is coming from this deep internal place. This is not from a doctrine that in a way is just, it's kind of a one-size-fits-all cultural doctrine. And any sort of alignment with your true authentic self is a reason for celebration. So turning your back on certain thought processes, belief systems, I think actual thoughts, this is a swords card. It's like turning your back on certain thoughts that you have taken to be fact, that you're realizing, oh, that's not a fact. That's just a thought that some other human being had that is like making that thought into a rule for so many other human beings, or like making that thought into an unspoken, rule for so many others. that is not fact. That is someone else's thought, the same way that I have my own thoughts, and I have the option to believe my own thoughts too, or to take my own thoughts seriously, or write them off as being like, no, that's not resonant with me. So you're leaving behind, you're turning your back on those things that have come from some other brain that don't resonate with you. That's not to say that nothing anyone else creates or puts out in the world is of use. There's so much that is of use, but I think real education happens, this internal education happens, when we suddenly become more discerning about what we allow to affect us and what we allow to shape our minds, which shapes our world. And that is the kind of discernment that you are moving into, that you are sailing into, Libra. So knowing that this is like a movement away, really, a moving on from, I think, this, a moving away from convention. What's in the middle here, how you do that? I mean, the Two of Cups was the moon. The moon being next to the Hierophant in this is wild. It couldn't, I mean, I'm just like, what card could possibly be more opposite of that? This is like an honoring of your wild side, of, you know, we do, it's like, there's just such a traditional belief that human beings do kind of strange things in the moon's half-light. You know, that the moon has a history of bringing out people's lunacy and strangeness and wild side. We hear stories of people transforming shape, you know, shape-shifting in the light of the moon. The moon itself, you know, historically does strange things, or like controls so much in our world that almost feels like magic. The way that it affects the tides, the way it affects women's bodies, the way that it affects I mean, take a pick. I'm thinking now of like parasites, like microbial activity. The moon is just, it has a strange power over the physical world, and the moon card also represents the strangeness of our subconscious minds, of our unconscious. There's a kind of primitiveness that happens when we surrender to the power of the moon, the power of the unconscious, and this kind of non-human aspect is revealed in us. It's like the human being transforming into a werewolf. You know, in this kind of half-light, our sense of what it means to be human breaks down a little bit. And this could be informing what we think it means to be human. What we think it means to be human, like we equate with being civilized. And there could be flaws in that. Again, the set of rules, the set of doctrines that we follow that shape us are in and of themselves man-made, which means they are subject to flaws. And this is a kind of primitiveness that goes beyond like thinking about anything. This comes from this like primitive part of ourselves that is a non-human place. You could even say a divine place. Like that is where the subconscious or the unconscious lives. It lives in that divine space. The moon, this also indicates kind of like a psychic power sometimes, guidance coming to us in the form of dreams or images that feel maybe even like a little disturbing and strange. It's all about images, like exciting and stimulating images from the subconscious. That also comes in the form of fears too. You know, this might be a time of fears revealing themselves to you about this relationship, that this Ace of Cups relationship, again, and the Ace of Cups being right next to the Two of Cups. I mean, it's wild. I think for many of you, this is a love relationship or a friendship, some sort of union that feels very unconventional to you. A relationship that is testing what you think is okay by society standards. But I also think that for many of you, this is the relationship with yourself. And that relationship feels threatening to society's convention, to the convention, the orthodox of, the orthodox, like, rules of not just like how society works, but the Hierophant is much more than that. It's not just about society, it's about more big picture things, like why we are here and our purpose, and you know, it does get into the realm of spirituality. So it's like more thinking about big picture things, and I think big picture things about our existence. And there's something about this relationship with this other person, or with yourself, or with this passion that you have, that you are starting, that is threatening that convention. It's threatening those orthodox beliefs. This being in the advice and action position for this month, I mean, this is such a, it's like, move on from what is conventional, from the doctrines that you have been raised in and steeped in, and let your wild side come out. Listen to the lunacy. Don't write it off as lunacy. Listen to the strangeness. Listen to the unconscious. See what fears come up. See what you can learn from those fears about this relationship, about this passion, about this love. There is some door that is being unlocked for you, something coming from your unconscious that is going to make its way into your conscious understanding of your life in the world, and very much so your belief systems about the world and about existence. And gosh, Libra, I just feel like this is, the more I'm thinking about this, and like the further we're going into this reading, I just feel like this is, I think I started by saying this is a real tearing for you, and it is. I mean, this is like a defining moment for you, I think. Really defining, like, redefining something by your own definition, and it might not be the popular opinion. So that is requiring bravery and strength and loyalty, again, obedience to that inner doctrine in you that is emerging. And that inner doctrine is emerging from your subconscious. It is emerging from your wild self. It is emerging from your non-human self, the side of you that is not civilized and conditioned by the convention and rules of this culture and this society. There is wisdom coming to you from outside of that, and this is the time to listen to it. The beauty of the moon is sometimes people, it's more than just intuition, the moon, because, you know, the difference between the moon and the high priestess. The high priestess, yes, that she symbolizes our intuitive selves, that sacred, divine, feminine mystique part of life. The moon encompasses more of the dark side of that, and the fears and dreams, the nightmares and dreams, both happen at night in that half light. And it's often a bit more, even more mysterious, I think, than the high priestess, because it's just this like the moon itself is an image. Like we have this image of the moon in the sky, and it can be breathtaking seeing the full moon. It can be breathtaking seeing, you know, a sliver of the moon. like those images of the moon itself, the way that our unconscious communicates to us through this moon energy, through this moon power, is very much in these just stimulating imagery. And that's all fears, hopes, joy, darkness and light all mixed together. So sometimes fearing the power of the unconscious mind persuades us to avoid even going there. This relationship is bringing you into this moonlight, and the advice here is not to turn away from it. If you allow yourselves to experience all of it, including the fears, as much as the dreams, then the nightmares will turn into... The nightmares have a power to turn into dreams themselves. They turn into important tools that are gateways to your to miracles in your life. So don't avoid experiencing the fears or glimpsing the fears just because they seem scary. Sometimes our fears are the greatest doorways to adventure, and also to the greatest adventures of our lives. And I think that is what this relationship really holds for you. Whether it is a love relationship, a friendship, or just your relationship with yourself or something that you are passionate about. This is a union that is opening up doors for you. And it's not just doors in the conscious world. It is opening up portals into your subconscious, into your superconscious. And you have the power with this opportunity to transcend your human self. You have the power right now to shapeshift in the light of the moon into something that is so much greater than just human. An understanding of yourself beyond your human self. And that all comes with turning your back on what is conventional. Super powerful stuff, Libra. I am so curious what this is for you. If you, as your month goes on and you want to drop me a comment here, please do so, because I would love to know more details. I would love to hear specifically how this is manifesting in your life. I think you're experiencing some real magic this month, and that makes me really excited for you. So happy Magic Month. Thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please share it with friends and family. It means so much to me that you are here at the end of this video. Thank you. I don't know what else to say other than I'm beyond grateful for you, and I love you so much. For more updates too about Starchaeology, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Starchaeology Tarot. I'm trying to get more active on there and be doing like daily card pulls and stuff. It would mean a lot to me to see you guys there. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.